So, Vicki, let's begin with you, if you would. You know a lot of the big reforms in New Mexico, but I hope you'll also share with us Common Cause strategies around the country and how folks can plug into that, who you're collaborating with, what comes next, if you would. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. It's always a pleasure to come to these things and see so many of our people doing the work. I mean, we've heard it over and over again, but we are never going to change our system, no matter what issue you really care about, if the people aren't involved. And, you know, it's not an accident that it's difficult for people to be involved, you know? I start to get a little conspiracy theorist, but there's a reason why it's difficult for us to fill this room with 3 times as many people. And I think it's really important. One of the things that we are very intentional about at Common Cause, especially the work that I do in New Mexico, is to make sure we bring people to the table in the beginning. We don't get in our wonky policy attorney brains and create policy and then go and try to get our partner organizations on the ground to support it, because it doesn't work that way. I mean, I like to say, you know, we worked in Albuquerque to fix our public financing system. We've had a great system since 2005. And of course, after the free enterprise case, we wanted to fix it. So everybody, you know, the newest thing was the 4-to-1 match, the 6-to-1. Hell, Denver wanted to do 12-to-1 at one point, which would have killed the rest of us. And we worked on that for a few years. And our partners who did work with immigration communities, with women, with children, with education, they went out and canvassed on this issue because Seattle had just passed their awesome new democracy voucher program. And so we're like, wonder what the people think. Let's really talk about this. After 3 months of canvassing on doors, not registered voters' doors, just everybody's doors, it was 9-to-1 in support of our democracy dollars versus a 4-to-1 match. And when you're in your policy head, you're going, well, $100 isn't that much. We heard from the people on the doors, we wouldn't give them 15 cents. I mean, you could not give me, I mean, it's hard for me to give them $5 to qualify for public financing. And so I think it's just really important to listen to people, get into the community, find out what they want. It can be very frustrating because we've got courts who have basically struck down a lot of what we want to do. I mean, I came into this work after Citizens United, and everybody cries about Citizens United, but I've had a lot of attorneys say things weren't exactly rosy, Vicki, the day before Citizens United. And so I think it's important for us when we do the contest around the 28th Amendment, when we look at these things, is to quit being restricted by what the courts are saying right now. I'm telling you, one of the most exciting conversations I ever have is around spending limits. And I mean, it's been years since we've been able to do that, but people love that idea. People want short elections. You know, I mean, I hear it every single day. Oh my God, Vicki, can you please make elections 1 month long? I mean, I just can't take another. And so I think it's important to work on a variety of issues. Common Cause across the country, we work on ethics, media and democracy, net neutrality, public financing, redistricting, lobby reform, disclosure. There is always something to be done. And so just don't work on one issue. It's going to take a variety of issues to get us where we want to go. There's no magic panacea. It's going to take it all, and it's going to take all of us connecting with people in different ways. You know, back in the day, people used to call it the shotgun approach, which is, I need a new name for it, obviously, in 2018. But it's not because you do it all because you don't know what's going to work. That's really bad thinking. You do it all because it's all necessary to win. There's no one way to do it. And so I just encourage people, reach out, talk to your business community, talk to your religious leaders, talk to all of your nonprofit partners, and have a multi-pronged approach. There's a great woman, if anybody's here from North Carolina, Melissa Price Crom, who works on judicial issues, and she always says, you need the shakers and the bakers. Have a shaker and a baker and get the work done. Thank you, Jeff.
Great. Thank you, Vicki. Francis, you're joining us up on Capitol Hill for Lobby Day
Yes.
tomorrow. We really appreciate that. Take Back Our Republic is so effective in so many ways, but particularly at opening doors for our Republican friends who are with us in spirit, but sometimes haven't heard the argument coming from their Republican friends for our work. You're doing that every day, you and John Pudner and all the great folks at Take Back. What comes next for you? What are you looking forward to in terms of whether Fix It America or other approaches in the coming months, and how can people help?
Well, thank you. And I really want to thank everyone. Everyone's been very, very receptive to our organization and what we're trying to do. And one of the things that's kind of unique about Take Back, we started just under 3 years ago, or I should say just over 3 years ago. And in that time, we've been able to expand to the 48 states. We have state coordinators in the 48 contiguous states within the country, which is saying a lot for only being an organization that's only been in existence for about a little over 3 years. And one of the things that's kind of helped us do that, Vicki Barnes from Minnesota, who's still here, I think.
Where's Vicki? There she is.
Okay.
The award-winning Vicki Barnes.
Well, yeah, oh, there she is, yes. Now, Vicki is the state coordinator for American Promise. And when we were, looking and we were talking through, your offices and so forth, and got the connection there, we had started a conversation, and she's come on board as our state coordinator in the state of Minnesota. So, which kind of shows that we're working together. Even though we have, there's a message that American Promise is giving, there's a message that Take Back Our Republic is giving. But it just shows that we could work together. And using that model, we've been able to expand the organization across the country. And that's the important thing. When we go back, you have to expand at the base, and the base is back home at the states. We need everyone, to go out. You have to be a surrogate for this, whether I don't care the different events you go to, town hall meetings, speak on it. If you have the opportunity, to speak to the press, give your ideas to the press, whatever we can do to get the message out. And the next thing is we need to start bringing in new people. You have your neighbors, church associates and so forth. They may not be of the same political persuasion, but I guarantee you they want common sense approaches to the problems that we're trying to do here. And as I said, they may not be of the same political persuasion, but I guarantee you a lot of them have common sense and will get on board. And that's what we found out with Take Back. That's why we have not only Republicans, but we also have Democrats, because we've kind of come at this as a common sense approach to this problem, and we're bringing more on. And as we go along, we work, one of the things that we worked with, Steve, and also in what they were doing in New Mexico just shows that we can bring the different groups together to work on the same issues. Take Back is going to continue working on these issues. One of the next things that we're going to tackle is the ranked choice voting in the different areas, to bring that to areas that hasn't been talked about before, the gerrymandering issues. So we're working on a whole host of issues that are coming up in the future, but the key is you have to start locally. You have to get the people that we know involved at home. That's where it's going to grow. If we don't grow it there, it's not going to go. It doesn't grow to Media Day, or not Media Day, but the Day on the Hill tomorrow is going to be great. We're talking to our senators and congressmen. But how they work, it goes to staff. Staff goes back and says, how's this playing in my district? If we're not making noise in that district, they're going to come back and say, we're not hearing much about it, and that's where it's going to stop. So we have to make sure that our elected officials understand that this is a growing movement, and we have presence in all the areas, in all the states and the counties, all the political organizations that are there. They support this, and that message has to get to the staff, who that's how these things are done, and that's how people on Capitol Hill move. So thank you.
Francis, thanks so much. That's some really, I just want to hold up again that wisdom there that was so important, that the lobby day is crucial, but the work you do back at home is what makes the lobby day matter. You know, that you keep hearing that throughout this conference. The local, what you're doing with the APAs, what you're doing in your community is the only thing that's going to make the difference up on Capitol Hill because of that call that Francis just mentioned. What do they think of this back home? How does it, you know, are people talking about it back home? And if they're not, it doesn't matter how good the idea is, it's not going to get to the top of the list. So thank you for reminding us of that as we head not only up to the Capitol for Lobby Day tomorrow, but then back home to get this organizing and the spreading of this work even further in our local communities. I've learned a long time ago that Steve always has something to say that's really clear, and it doesn't really matter what question I ask him, he's going to tell us what we need to know.
Whether you want to hear it or not.
So I'll just pretend to ask him a question, and then he's going to do what he does. So I hope what he does is share a little bit about why you want to be there 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll bet it'll be, you know, we've done 19 states, 800 cities and towns have called for this amendment. Not once has the resolution been delivered behind bagpipes and flags until Steve Lipscomb got involved. So what comes next? Where are the bagpipes sounding next, Steve?
Thanks, that's great. Thank you for being here. the bagpipes, how can you miss bagpipes? I know it's 8 a.m., but how can you miss bagpipes? When we started this, first of all, I want to one more time echo the many, many thanks to American Promise and all of the organizations that helped make this happen. But really what I want to do is thank the people that I've gotten a chance to learn from in the last 3 days. When we were here Friday night, if you were here, you heard me make the soccer analogy, and that is that while I cited the Fix It America constitutional amendment that we spent 2.5 years working on every word and syllable, I said, I believe this is a soccer game, and it's all about getting a ball in the net. And thank you for the last 3 days for all of the things I learned about soccer balls. I had no idea they were being kicked at that net, and that helped me to absolutely believe the goalie has no chance at all. And as a gambling man, and you may or may not know that I started a thing called the World Poker Tour, so to blame or thank for the putting poker on television all over the world, I am a betting man. And you may love me or hate me, and I won't even tell you what I thought about it, but having won 5 10-to-1 bets that Donald Trump would either be the nominee or president, I today made my first bet with one of the people who is responsible for helping this conference happen, that within 5 years we will be out of Congress with the 28th Amendment. And I can tell you that when I walked into the door, I wouldn't have felt comfortable making that bet. And that's for you. So, you know, the things that we are doing, the extraordinary partners that I feel fortunate to have in Common Cause nationwide, in American Promise, in Take Back Our Republic, and Represent Us, who is going to be marching with us also tomorrow, to me feels like just a very beginning of the communal effort that I hope I can continue to be a part of, that will do the metaphoric march that will mirror the March on Congress that we will have tomorrow, that truly is going to make it possible for the thing that today may seem like a dream, but I'm just telling you, when 80 to 90% of us already agree on something, we are so much closer than we might actually think. And I just have to leave with this last caveat, and that is that democracy is ugly. Thank God, because I ain't good looking. And when we start talking about how we work together and we start identifying groups and trying to call them out for not being able to support and fight even against us if they disagree with us, we have fundamentally undermined the process of democracy. And I would ask for all of us, as we're working on it, to defend that stuff that's under the stuff that's under the stuff, because the marketplace of ideas, I promise you, is not going to reward somebody who's trying to stop somebody from fighting the battle they believe in. Fight for you, join us, or fight for your thing. And if it's not our soccer ball, dear Lord, I hope it's yours.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Amen.
Amen.